Hey guys, welcome back. My name's Colin Ledbetter. This is the Built Different podcast. In studio with me, I have Josh Lose. He's my old partner. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
I am Joshua Lose. Currently, I am a police officer with the Fairview Police Department. I've been there about, a little over about 2.5 years. Before
It's been
that,
long.
yeah. Before that, I was in St. Louis City, District 6 for 4 years.
Let's jump right into, let's talk about the differences between the city versus Fairview.
Oh, gosh. As you know, the city, especially District 6, was just way more high speed, more violent crimes.
Mm-hmm.
Just every day up
Chaos.
there, just chaos. Robberies, batteries, or assaults in Missouri, shootings, homicides, stabbings, just one after another.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in Fairview, we don't really have that. It's more of a shopping hub for Southern Illinois. Everyone goes there to shop pretty much. And
I do a lot of my shopping there now.
there's so many stores.
Yeah.
And more there, it's retail thefts, traffic accidents, or minor things. We've had a few higher end crimes, but nothing that relates to the city.
Yeah. You've also got a unique perspective as well, something that I want to talk about. Your time in the Marine Corps. So you were in the Marines from when to when?
So I went in 2011 to 2015.
Okay. And you met your wife while you were a Marine.
Yes. So I met my wife in July.
She has a name. It's Crystal.
Yeah, my wife Crystal.
Sorry.
Yeah, she'll get at me later for that. I met her in July of 2014, and then I got out in 2015.
July of 2014.
Yeah.
I had just graduated high school.
Jeez. Gosh, I forget how much younger you are than me.
I'm not that young. I'm coming up on 30, in 2 years.
I just turned 32 last week.
Really?
Sunday. Yeah, December 1st.
Dude, it feels like just yesterday I was at your 30th birthday party.
I know. Time flies, especially when you get old.
We're getting old.
Old kids, life.
Yeah, you got your third kid now.
Yes. And
How's that going?
It's going.
Yeah.
It's going. He's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
He's been a pretty good baby so far.
Running around.
Except for he's got eczema and a little droopy eye, but
yeah,
he'll be all right.
So we kind of talked, we hit on your Marine Corps experience. No deployments, right? I can never remember that.
No deployments, so it was more peacetime. I guess when I was, there were still some deployments going on, but I got selected to go on a few. But before any pre-workup or anything,
Pre-mobbed, yeah.
They got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And then I tried to re-enlist, and they denied. They were just downsizing the military at that point, and they didn't want anybody to go. They weren't trying to have anybody else in.
Mm-hmm.
So I just got pushed out with, honorable discharge, good codes, and I could re-enlist or join another branch, which then I went to the Army Reserves about 6 months after.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some stories. I know we've got a few. We rode together for.
So, you were in the academy class
before you.
2 classes ahead of me. So you got out.
Yeah.
I guess 4 months.
I'm 11698. You're 11760.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably two classes.
It was 2 classes because there was the one class between and then you, because we were still in the academy together. You were in your last phase or whatever when I started, and then you ended up being in District 6 as soon as I went there. And I remember riding with, Nellie Kirkendall's the FTO. That was a joy and a half right there. Tell you what, feeding her cats in the back alley of Arlington or Davis, wherever it was. And then she kept telling me, don't ride with Colin when you get down don't ride with Colin. I was like,
And you rode with me.
So I remember as soon as I got off FTO though, because you were already working.
I was working with Leland Bonner.
And
then you rode with Mike Hines.
Yeah, and that was a complete 180 twist of what I was doing.
Well, I remember my very first big story that I remember with you.
Yes, you're right.
Mike comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, we're gonna do some work today." And I said, "Okay." He goes, "I got Josh. We need to break him in." And I said, "Okay." Well, you're kind of breaking me into because I'm pretty new still. And he goes, "Okay." He goes, "This is what we're gonna do." And I'm not gonna name street names or nothing like that, but we're gonna pull up to the back of this dope house, and we're gonna run around the front. Colin, you saw the guy earlier. He's sitting up on the stoop selling, right? And I said, "Yep." And he goes, "We're gonna run around to the back, and we're gonna get this guy." And it was utter chaos.
Yes.
We ran through the gangway. I thought we were probably gonna get shot.
Yeah.
Luckily, we did not. The guy was more scared of what was coming through the gangway at him. Yeah. We did get him. We arrested him. He had dope. He had a lot of guns, and it ended up good for us. But it was definitely a wide eye opener, I guess.
Yes, I remember that day because I just got with Hines, and he came up to me. He's like, "Look, man, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Pretty much, there is no crawling, walking, nothing, man. We're going and we're running, and this is what we're doing." And I'm like, new guy. I'm like, "Okay, sure. I'm not gonna say no."
It's like drinking out of a water faucet.
And that was the most intense thing.
Yeah.
Just he tried to run in and went in after him. Just got everything. I mean, shoot, we got like 3 or 4 ARs, a couple handguns.
There's a couple Dracos.
Yeah.
Some dope.
And a bunch of ammo.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was the dope man's house at the time. That was the sought after block at the time.
Yes.
But that was a crazy day.
Yeah. And then continued to hit them. Then they regroup and continue to go back after him.
And I'm sure they're a thing now. If not that a subset of that gang. But let's see. So, moving forward, you stopped riding with Mike, and then at some point we started riding together. I can't remember if it was Kerper. Kerper was in the bureau, maybe.
I think he was doing one of his SWAT schools because at that point he was trying to get into SWAT really bad, and so he was going. I think he was taking like SWAT 1, 2, and all those other extra courses.
Kerper was another guy that worked in our squad with us.
Yeah, and then he came back, so he jumped in with Hines, and then something with Bonner. I don't remember where he went.
He went down to Mobile.
Did he? So he went down to Mobile, and then me and you partnered up, and we were together for
till the end.
Almost, for about 2 years.
And then you broke up with me.
No.
And you submitted a transfer.
No.
To the dark side.
No.
And didn't tell me. It transferred without me.
No. We were partners for like 2 years. You decided to go on a deployment because you wanted to be a National Guard hero and go sit in Kuwait and Jordan or wherever.
Bahrain, too.
Bahrain, yeah. Okay. And then you came back.
Beach Boys, by the way.
I'm sure you were sipping lots of
I did actually get to swim in a swimming pool a couple times at Bahrain. It was pretty cool. I was on a naval base. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, we're all in the suck over here.
Yeah, you guys were standing on riot lines.
That was.
And I'm sitting there in my bunk eating Cheetos like, I really hope my buddies don't get shot tonight.
And I'm surprised we didn't.
Because we did have some officers hit.
We'll talk about I'll tell you about my experience with the riots whenever you want. But then you came back, and we started riding together almost immediately again. And then let's see, at that time, I remember we got transferred up to the YMCA because it was during COVID, right? Yeah.
So we had literally just went up to the YMCA and we're riding together.
Yeah.
Body cameras were a new thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of the remembering that I have.
Yeah, and we had Sergeant Wesley whenever you came back. I think was it Wesley or was it Cobb when you came back?
It was Sergeant Wesley. Cobb was before I left.
Okay, so we had Wesley, and gosh, the sweetest lady in the world. Man, she was a great sergeant. I mean, she always had your back.
She was. And
then you came back, and it was almost immediate and just started hitting it one after another. And then there was that one time, right? I don't know if it was before.
We had so much happened just in that little time. At one point we had
that shots fired call in the back of that one house on, I don't remember that street, but it was right by the YMCA. And we were just cruising through. I mean, because up there, shots fired and is always, or shot spotters, or you show up and there's nothing there. It's just people shooting in the air. Just, it is a thing. But we show up and we see these guys shooting into a derelict car in their backyard.
Yeah.
And we call it out, and next thing I know, the car hasn't even stopped, and you're jumping out and running, and I'm like, okay, well, let me drive around. So I'm like trying to drive around, and the city always has streets just blocked off for no reason.
Well, they think that it deters crime.
Yeah,
but in reality, they just drive over it.
They drive
through the
around
grass
over it.
And it tears the crap out of our Tahoes.
Yeah, and then we can't do anything. So you're chasing through the gangways across the street, and I'm blocked by cinder blocks. I can't get there, and I'm like, great. So I just jump out and start chasing.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, there's the one guy I think ended up getting away.
Then we had a... Yeah, it would have been at that time we had a... It was an on-view homicide.
Yeah.
We'll watch what we say. Like, we won't share too much of it, but...
Yeah.
We were driving down a road, and I just remember hearing gunshots.
Yeah.
And there was a police car in front of us. I think it was...
It was Hines and Kerper.
Hines and Kerper. And we see them dart into this lot, and then a car comes flying out. And then I look to the left, and I remember seeing someone laying out of a car. They'd just been shot.
Yeah.
We chased that car for...
Oh, dude, we chased that from North City into the North County. I think we went up by Christian Northeast, back down to 70, all the way down into South County or South City. I think it down 44.
We lost the pursuit for a little bit.
Yeah, so we ended up getting left because
the lead car stayed on.
Yeah, it was Kerper and Hines, and we ended up getting blocked by traffic at some point
on 70.
And finally, by the time we catch up to them, they're coming onto Big Bend or somewhere down in over in West County-ish, right outside the city. And all I remember is you go, 623, we're back in this. We'll be second in this pursuit. I mean, the most countryest accent you ever had in your life.
And then the car, literally, I think right after that, I think we went 4 blocks.
Yeah, we end up back in the city.
Air support gets over us 4 blocks, and then the car wrecks out.
Yeah, drives into a fence and wrecks out, and we get them all.
We got them all. There was only two guys, I think.
Yeah, there was 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what happened with you end up getting hit by the one guy as you're running.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so then I get out of the passenger side, and I start chasing. I don't remember if it was the driver or the passenger. And the guy ends up running into a police car, gets hit by a police car. The guy goes flying and hits me. And I go down. I hit my head, I think, and I know I messed up my ankle. And I got back up, and then by the time I got back up, there was already guys cuffing him up. And someone walks up to me, and he goes, I don't remember who it was, if it was a county guy or whatever. He goes, dude, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, my ankle hurts. And he's like, dude, you just got hit by a car. And I said, I don't think I did. And they're like, no, you did. So then they get on the air and they're like, we got an officer hit by a car. And like, next thing I know, I'm in the back of an ambulance and I have no clue what's going on. And I'm like, yeah, sure. So they transport me down to the hospital. And I think you knew about some of this. Chief Hayden at the time shows up at my hospital room and he goes, are you okay? He's like, someone said that, you got hit by a car and you were not doing well and you weren't likely and you were likely. I was like, yeah, sir, I'm fine. And then whenever we get back to our substation at the time, the YMCA, we get back there and we watch the body camera footage. I actually got hit by the guy who got hit by the car.
Yeah, he just got hit and he spins
knocked
around
me off
like
balance and I hit my head off the ground and that was it. But
you actually got hurt quite a bit. Or a couple times.
Well, I had that one time where
you got wrapped up in the taser wire.
Wrapped up in the taser wire.
We're all trying to fight some guy in the brush. Who supposedly, I think, was armed. And somebody lets loose of a taser.
Someone had the taser and kept tasing the guy they thought, and they were tasing me.
Yeah,
and I was it was in my head, and I was getting shocked in my head.
Yeah. You ended up going to the hospital that night, too.
Yep. And then I went because I got shot. So there's that.
Well, yeah, then you eventually...
I had three or four hospital visits, I guess.
I think there was another time. I can't remember, though. I feel like you went to the hospital.
Maybe an accident. Maybe I was in an accident.
Maybe.
It wasn't you driving because you never got in an accident.
No. We had our
I never got in
down.
an accident.
You were the runner. I was the driver.
It was probably Kayla. Kayla probably got me into an accident.
Yeah.
Dang it, Kayla, if you're watching this.
Brad got me into an accident.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Going to chase after some car that hit an LPR, and he goes through the intersection. We get T-boned, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Bradley.
So we've kind of touched on some stories and stuff. I want to talk a little bit, in every policeman's career, no matter how short or long it is, they can always kind of put their fingers on the worst moment in their career and the best moment. And I ask this question across the board to everyone that comes in. So let's start with, which one do you want to start with? Best or worst?
It don't matter to me. I mean, probably the worst moment of my career and one of the changing points was when you got shot. That was probably one of the worst parts because, I mean, you've been my best friend since we started becoming partners. I mean, you're family to me, and then I had a lot of guilt when you got shot just because we planned it for a week. This day we're riding together. I was supposed to come in early and ride with you and do overtime, and then you were going to stay late and ride with me and do overtime.
And it was we were in a rough spot because I had tried to transfer over with you to the different platoon. And it didn't go through, and then...
Yeah, because you made me transfer to A platoon.
I did not make you.
You did.
I put my transfer paperwork in. It just did not go through.
Yeah, you said, hey, Los, let's go to A platoon. It's so much fun. It's so much better for us. I put my transfer paperwork in.
And then we got Rumpso right after that, I think.
I didn't want to go. Fought you tooth and nail. And finally I said, okay, I'll do it. And somehow only I got transferred.
And then
a
week later after you got transferred, we got Sergeant Rumpside. He saved our squad.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt your story.
No. It's okay. So people know.
That you were the one that wanted to get away from my partnership.
No, you did. You actually fed me some line to get me away.
Oh, please.
That's how it was. I ended up going. Then you're like, oh gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know if my paperwork ever got... Oh no. Then you told me, I talked to the major. She said my paperwork never even got sent in.
It's true.
Yeah.
I did. I really did.
You said you submitted it 4 times.
I'm sorry. You had to go deal with those awful people on A platoon.
I know. It was a little hard. They were a little reckless.
But back to the story. Sorry.
Yeah. So, because, I mean, that's kind of how we did most of the stuff. Was working. I'd work with you. You work with me. Just doing overtime. And then... that day, I decided not to come in because you had your DEA interview through the department.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's in the middle of the day. I was like, by the time I get in, you got to look over your stuff, get ready for that, go to this interview, and by the time you're done, I'm going to be coming in. So I'm just coming in to not do anything, just to sit around and watch you do an interview. It's
little did you know.
Yeah, I guess so. And then next thing I know, I'm at home. And my wife comes in and she's like, hey, real time's up with a shooting up here, is it something you know? I'm like, no, it's probably not the city because it was off. They said it was near Lucas.
Ferguson.
Yeah. So I was like, it's not
us. It was on West Florissant.
Not to worry about it. I was like, it's not us. And then because around that time, I think county had multiple officer-involved shootings in that area anyways. So I was like, it's probably them again. And then we're watching the live feed. Next thing I know is I see our ETU units up there. And I'm like, okay, that's not a good sign. That means it was one of us. And so I start freaking out. I'm like, it could be SWAT, it could be mobile, or it could be District 6. Some of the guys I know. So I start calling people. I actually called you and Speece, the two who actually got shot. And you guys didn't answer. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to freak out. They're probably just on that scene. Not a big deal. So I'm calling around. I can't get a hold of anybody. And then I think it was actually Napoli that called me first. And he's like, hey, man, I think it was our guys. And I think it was Colin and Speece. And I was like, okay. Then I started freaking out.
And it's like,
oh,
how
great.
far into it is it? It's like 10 minutes or?
Gosh, I don't even know. I know they were already on, ET was already on scene. So, I mean, this.
So we're 20 minutes in, probably.
Yeah, you're already definitely on your way to at the hospital.
I'm just trying to establish the timeline and show how fast, like, Officer Word flies.
I mean, it was super fast. I mean, by the time we seen that, I started getting calls immediately, and then I got a call from someone else on the department who said, yeah, hey, I heard it was these two. I'm not sure. I'm like, okay. And then I think it was Brad that actually called me and was like, hey, I am like 99% sure it was Speece and Colin. And they're at the hospital.
Brad would have been the best person to tell you that, though.
Yeah. And
because Brad was Nate's partner.
And I was like, well, where are you? I thought you were at work. He's like, no, I had something going on. I wasn't there today. He's like, I'm heading to the hospital now. I'm like, shit. All right, let's go. And I get there and just, I mean, all.
It was chaos.
It was chaos, and it was just all downhill. It was like, they got you stable, but it was like, he's stable. That's it. I mean, nothing more. And it was like, great, this is not, nobody knew if you were going to make it through the night. And then you made it through the night, and you were in a coma for about, I don't even know, like a week, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was a week. And then the whole time, they're like, yeah, well, if he comes out of this, we don't know how it's going to happen. He was without blood or oxygen to the brain for, at least 20 minutes. That's not good. He's probably not going to be the same, da-da-da. And then you come out just as retarded as ever still.
Perfect.
No, I mean, and then you come out and, I mean, absolutely nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you have a few minor things, and it's like, compared to what it could be, is like, I mean, a miracle, just a blessing in all ways. So that was probably my pivot point and worst time in my career, because at that point I was like, I'm married, 2 kids. It's like, I mean, we've been running and gunning for 4 years at that point. I'm like, I got to go. I was like, I can't do this. At any moment's notice, I mean, up here, especially what we were doing, because I mean, we weren't just in North City dealing with homicide and shooting calls. We were actually going after these guys every day.
Combating it, yeah.
Trying to take them off the street, trying to make it a safer neighborhood. However, the justice system wouldn't allow it. But, I mean, there was so many of us trying to do this day in, day out, putting our lives in danger to take these guys off the street. And at some point, I got to be like, you know what?
Burnout.
Not only burnt out, but like, I want to see my daughter get married. I want to see my son grow up. I want to see him go to college, graduate high school, just live. And I knew at some point, no matter what, I was going to be involved in something like this if we kept doing what we were doing. And I didn't want to take those chances anymore.
That's fair. I mean, I feel like especially if you work, in District 6, District 5, some of the rougher spots, I feel like every officer has that point where they kind of reach that and they evaluate and say, can I do this? Can I keep going?
Yeah.
What's the toll on my family type of thing? And that usually happens.
And I mean,
no matter how hard you try to fight it.
Yeah. And no matter how much you miss it and you want to do it, it's just not, in the end, it's not worth it. And I mean,
it's not good for your health.
No, and your mental health at that. I mean, I alone think in the 4 years I was up north, handled probably 200 homicides alone. I mean, out of the city, statistically speaking, you're ranging from 150 to 200 homicides a year, and 90% of them coming out of the north side. And we're going to most of those. Break it down to our shift. I mean, I'd say roughly we're looking at 50 a year that we handle as a squad. And that's not counting the people we see get shot, the well-beings we check on people who haven't been seen in months, and we find them embedded in their couches from death. I mean,
overdoses.
I mean, I still remember my first homicide. I remember an overdose that I seen where an actual kid who was like, 10 or younger, found this female behind a bush in the middle of summer, and it's like 100 degrees plus outside. And just the things you see on a daily basis up there is not good. And
definitely not.
Us as, cops, you become immune to it. Your empathy levels, your emotion, everything kind of goes away. And that really takes a toll in your home life as well. It's like I don't share stuff with my wife. I let it eat me. I try to be a big bad man, right? I don't want to show emotions. Yeah. I don't want to talk about it. I tell my wife a little here and there about some things, but I don't go into detail what I see, what I've dealt with, any of that. And after a while, it really takes a toll on you. And it starts affecting your life, your marriage, everything.
Yeah. And it's hard to see this stuff while you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
only since I've left and really gotten away from it. And then I actually went to a counselor, I went and seek mental health treatment, and just a counselor therapy about it and I only did that because I was involved in a shooting in Fairview after I got there. Is the only reason why I ever went. If I wasn't involved in that, I probably never went, and still, some of that stuff would still eat you. Some days I still think about what we've done, what we've seen, and it's heartbreaking.
I still see a therapist, and we talk. I'm sure we touch on my shooting every once in a while, but a lot of it's just about my day-to-day life now and how much different it is from then.
Yeah.
It's just, it's insane, like me learning how to readapt my life from what I used to be into what I am now. It's a completely two different worlds.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Like, if someone gets mad at me at work now, I don't start like blading myself and like preparing for this guy to attack me because I'm wearing a badge or something, stuff like that. So, no, I totally understand that. And I do think that, mental health upkeep in this job is very important.
Oh, definitely. It's very important. You hear about it, officers, committing suicide a lot, and it's just because
way too often.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to see in people. You don't realize it.
It's always the ones that you don't see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But always seek that help. Never be afraid, and don't be too manly to go do it. It's going to save your life, and it's going to help you out. It definitely helped me see things better. And I actually went with my wife, too.
Yeah.
And she heard me talking about some of these things and kind of understood more. And
yeah,
it really helped our marriage, an aspect of why I hide things, why I don't say things. And now I tell her more about work now than I ever did before, because handling retail thefts and traffic accidents, some disturbances, nothing too crazy.
You're holding the line in Fairview.
Yeah.
No, there's still crime and stuff there. It's just not as sporadic. I would say in some ways, Fairview might be more dangerous for you, because in St. Louis, every day you're on a strict, hey, I don't know what's going to happen, what's going to be around this door. Like every day you pull out, and now you probably get laxed a lot, and,
Yeah, sometimes you do.
And you've been in a shooting in Fairview and stuff, so there is still that aspect.
Which I never expected to happen.
No.
I figured I would have been in one in St. Louis before we were there, and then less than a year in Fairview I was involved in one, and it was like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I remember.
It was totally different.
Yeah, I remember you calling me after that. And, anyways, let's talk a little bit. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. we were going over to, let's talk about, we talked about some of the worst times, but let's talk about some of your more favorite times. I'm sure you've got some of those.
Gosh, man. I mean, honestly, it was just working with the people is just in general was the best times.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all such good friends.
We were all very close, and yeah.
In the suck together and working for that department. I mean, everything about it just kind of sucked, and we all knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But we all went out together. We all tried to make a difference together. You know, it was our squad.
We all ate at Love's together.
Huh?
We all ate at Love's together.
Yeah. You know, it was our squad, and then we'd have some people from A squad come over, you know.
Yeah, we didn't like them as much, but
No, not Divine, Mitchum. I mean, that kid, I mean, he's good.
He's a good guy. A
little short, but he's good.
He's all right.
And, I mean, just being around, that was like one of my best times. I mean, just always doing, and just trying to go out and get these bad guys no matter what was always just a great time.
I've got one more question and we'll kind of wrap it up. I have asked this question, I think, on every podcast that I've had relating to officers or stuff like that. So I think this one's going to be kind of a fun one for you, I guess. Would you recommend this job to a family member or friend?
I actually have recommended this job to a family member. I got my brother involved in policing. So I was getting ready to leave.
And where's he working at? I already know. I'm just leading you on to this.
Yeah. So he actually works in St. Louis City, District 6, on A Squad, exactly where I left. So as soon as I started looking into, I ended up talking him into joining the cop. He wanted to be a cop somewhere, and he tried to take a test, and I don't know, something happened. And I was like, look, man, go to the city. They hire anybody.
They hired us.
They're always hurting, man. Just go.
Yeah.
I mean, the city's track record with hiring people ain't very good, but
no.
You know, go there, get your experience, and leave, man.
Yeah.
You know, you gather. I mean, that is the one good thing about the city. I mean, the city helped build my career. It helps all of us build our career, where we go, and what we do.
It's like drinking through a garden hose.
Yeah. I mean, and I did everything I could to get him in North City because I knew the people there. I knew the command staff.
Yeah.
And I knew they would take care of him. I didn't know any other districts. Yeah, the other districts might be, as they say, safer, not as chaotic. But I knew the command staff, and I knew they'd take care of him. I knew the officers up there very well. I mean, he enjoys it. He says he loves it, and he continues to do it. But I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else.
Just Jake.
Just Jake. Just old Jakey.
Okay, so wrapping up, is there anything that you would want to add, or especially say to a younger officer?
I mean, a younger officer needs to always listen to the senior officers. Somebody's giving you some advice, just take it.
Yeah.
Don't smart back. Don't act like you know everything. I mean, that's what this newer generation just thinks they know everything.
Yeah.
And you don't. Just listen to the guys that have been there. Listen to your instinct, your gut. Your gut is going to tell you a lot. If you feel like something's wrong, 90% of the time, something is wrong. I always get that feeling when we're about to do something, or we're trying to pull over a car or something. Your gut will just start, you'll feeling weird, and you'll know, like, okay, yeah, this is going to be a good car. This, something's not right here. Do a little more digging, you're going to find something more. And just keep your head on a swivel, at all times.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to come around. I mean, we had a well-being check, or, some petty call one time in the city, and we went to an alley, and as soon as we hit that alley, all you heard was AR's rack, and you're like, okay, gotta go.
Yeah.
And we drove out of that alley as fast as you could, because you just never know.
No, you don't. Well, Josh, I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me.
I got to do this one last thing, and I'll let you do the same. I've been promising my nephew that I would give him a shout out. He likes watching me on the TV and stuff. So Reagan, I hope that Yeah, 6:21. So I hope that you're winding down for the day. You were a good boy at school. And Josh, if you want to give a shout out to your kids when they see this.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'll watch it, but
They can at least watch the last 5 minutes.
They can watch the last 5. Well, I'll just say, hi to my daughter Lacey and my son Toby, and new one's 4 months old. He can't really know what's going on, but Charlie.
If you're seeing this in like 10 years.
Yeah, just know I love you, I care about you, and everything I do is for you guys.
Thanks for coming on, Josh.